Yeah. He a hard worker. He run loud. That's all around great player. Give him a chance. You know I throw to him.
Look, in my line, I get ready. Feeling too trippy, get it cracking like a levy. I'ma show them all how to party with the levy.
To Reggie Bell for the 19-yard touchdown. And the Redskins up 14-10.
Here's McCown with time. Cruz. Touchdown. Complete over the middle. Reggie Bell.
And I'm in there. What's up, girl?
What's up, Rick?
Hey, follow me.
Don't let it watch yourself, huh?
Yo, you see, boy, Sean, he on the 6.
Same thing, though.
Here, yo. FX6 crew on deck.
But in a meaningful one. We intentionally chose to host today's Social Justice Town Hall here at the Southeast Community Center because it represents the heart of this community. A place rooted in service, resilience, and opportunity. This center does incredible work.
McCourty will go to Josh Johnson and then we'll knock out, okay? Thanks so much.
How's it going, guys? My name is Curtis Robinson. I was originally raised in Southern California, and I've spent most of the last 10 years here in the Bay. I went to school up here at Stanford University, and then I have spent the last 4.5 years with the Niners. I've been blessed. I love the Bay Area. Like I said, I'm not from here, but I've been embraced since the moment I stepped on campus here when I was an 18-year-old, and as I've grown in my NFL career, it's been really cool to meet all the individuals across all the different communities, whether it was the East Bay or San Francisco or the South Bay as well. So I'm grateful to be here today, and I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Jason McCourty, opposite of the other guys up here. I have no connections to the West Coast. I'm originally from New York, living in New Jersey now. I'm a retired NFL player. Played 13 seasons in the league, most of that in Tennessee with the Titans, and spent a few years in New England, one in Miami, and also one in Cleveland. And I'm just excited to be here as I'm hearing David Rice talk about back in 2016, 17, when all of this was starting to think. I remember doing a ride along in Nashville with a police officer just to get closer to the community and start to learn and not just stand on the sideline with a fist up or take a knee, but actually figure out what was going on in the community. So now to be sitting here now for the second year at the Super Bowl last year in New Orleans is an important part of the work, and it's really cool to see all of you guys out here, so I appreciate it.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Josh Johnson. Born and raised in West Oakland, California. Went to Oakland. This is the Bay is home, specifically the town. Going to just finish my 18th year in the NFL.
Come on. Come on.
Been a wild journey, but amongst this journey, the number one thing that I've always done is has been home. The intentionality was for a reason. We'll discuss why as we get into this panel. This has always been home, never left, probably never gonna leave from the Bay. We loyal to a fault. And just to be a part of this panel, I'm grateful. Never really thought I'd be up here doing something like this, and I'm excited how this day will go.
So let's open up the conversation in this. Excuse me. How is it that you all understand social justice? And that's open for anybody.
I'll start it off. I think for me, it starts with equality, and I think that comes in all different forms and fashions. I think to your point, there's multiple ways to attack that. I think about just my own journey growing up, single mom, 3 boys. My father passed away when I was young, and automatically you start off and you don't have maybe a fair chance to maybe somebody who grew up 2 towns over. So when you talk about fighting for social justice, how can I bring that young man who has a single mom, bring him up to just the same playing field as another kid who maybe has both parents and has the economic availability to be able to do some things that this young man can't. So I think it spans to so many different things, but for me, it's been that. How can I create equality for people that maybe started off at a different point and open up their horizons to see the opportunities that are out there for them?
Yeah, I think he makes a really good point as far as, just providing access to those who may not have it. I think it's very circumstantial based on how somebody might be raised or the situation that they're experiencing at a certain time in their life. And I think just giving everyone a fair shot to have at least access to the opportunities and to take advantage of those opportunities is really the biggest thing. And to me, I think, bridging that gap is kind of how I've defined it in my work is, finding ways, whether it's financially or, like I said, access to opportunities or access to resources is the easiest way to kind of attack that.
So talk to us about the work you do, because I know you're into mentoring, right? And the importance of mentoring, and then also reading. What does reading have to do with social justice or bringing people to equal playing fields and stuff you're talking about? Who cares about reading books?
I think that, the focus has been mostly on mentorship and education. It started off education-based. My mom is a professor, so education was always a huge theme in my household growing up. And I always just viewed it as the foundation to, being able to be successful and establish routine in life within communities that made it difficult for certain students to succeed. And I think that from a mentorship standpoint, I just wanted to provide as much as I can from, the access that I had to the resources that allowed me to pursue my dreams the way that I wanted to. Like, I want to be able to, obviously try to provide those resources the best way that I can, but also give the advice that I was given through my mentors as a kid. And I think that, as a little kid, hearing someone in our position
with two other athletes of the Family First Foundation, right? And one of the things that I really dig is when you're looking at the background of how you all began to work and whatnot. I shared this with you briefly before we started that you have a vision statement and a mission statement, and that's all well and good, but I was really, attentive to what it says you all believe in, right? So the belief, and I wrote it down because I want to make sure I read it right. When our youth in Oakland and around the world are given relatable leadership and access, a new generation of leaders will emerge. Can you talk to us a little bit about, and I think, Curtis, you help us out a lot as well as you, Jason, is that idea of being relatable. You're talking about being loyal to the Bay and to a fault. And I know folks see you and the folks who founded Family First Foundation with you in the neighborhood and things like that. Talk to us about what that means, how you understand social justice and things like that, but what that means being there.
Well, first off, when we were doing social justice wasn't a word that was around yet. And to me, for us, the example was really just what we experienced. Like when I went to Tech, I grew up in Oakland, if you know about the town, like history of the Panthers really like set a precedence for really how our community is shaped. When you start talking about free lunch programs, all these different things. And what I noticed was when I got to the places that sports took me to be successful, there was nobody in there like me. And then, like, it was the little things that stood out to me. Like, going to San Diego was a 5% minority school, and I was blessed to go there. And the first thing that I dealt with was I wore beanies and hoodies, because that's how we dress in the town. And then somebody walked up to me, and they questioned my whole existence because of it, because they couldn't relate to me. Wow. And so, at first it threw me off a little bit, but as I grew there, and I grew a lot of friends, and I grew a lot of relationships, it taught me the value of understanding. And understanding is something that really, when you look at the world and how it's created, especially in America, and how people benefit, as Black people, we don't really have that line, that straight line of succession with understanding. And so for us, it was an opportunity that really we didn't expect to have, we didn't really pursue to have, but it was something more that I look at it now and say, God gave us that. He said, y'all gonna have a lot of purpose in this. And the purpose started forming through our football camp. And it was like, okay, kids see us around the hood and stuff, and then they started noticing us, but they seeing us in the elements of the football player, then they seeing us in the elements of being from the town, and then so it brought questions out of them like, well, how did you do this, but you still talk this way? You still dress this way? Because at that time, everybody was, oh, you can't talk this way, you can't do this, you can't do this to be successful. And we had a problem with that. Like we had a problem with it because it's like, I never got in trouble. I've been a 3.5 plus student my whole life. I made it out of public school. My mom was a single mom, raising 4 or 5 kids, working 3 jobs. You know what I mean? We had all the different mistakes that was right there waiting on us, but we chose to go a different route. And so how you gonna question, like, why you telling me the way I dress is bad, bro? Like, now how I'm gonna be me? But I had to learn what comes with that. Like, I had to learn what the missed opportunities gonna look like. I had to learn what the side conversations gonna look like. I had to learn how to navigate that, and I was blessed to have my cousins there with me. And so by us doing that, we started setting a new standard, not just for ourselves, but for our community that, you know what I mean, you can rock how you wanna rock. Now let's educate on the barriers that's gonna come with that. And if you learn how to wiggle around those barriers, then we're gonna start making transformations in our community. We're gonna start seeing lives change. And the work that we've done is still authentically us. That's why a lot of people don't know about it, because we don't want to promote it. We want you to come rock with us authentically. And if you gotta come because it's a camera or a photo op, that's really not what, this ain't that. It's not that. And then you start looking at who owns the platforms. We don't own the platforms. So why we want to share our message on it? You know what I mean? And so like, it's an OG, his name is Rudy, United Players, love him to death. I wear this band, I've been wearing this band for, and you know, things like this is something that I wasn't comfortable with. But now to be comfortable in it, you know, I'm grateful that God has grew me in that way. Because everything that I was against, He has opened up the light to like, okay, let me show you how this can be effective to what you're doing though. And then it's like, I don't know who's gonna see this, I don't know who's gonna watch this, but if it's somebody in here that's a young African American or a young person, period, in particular from our area, and they say, oh, Josh was on that panel. Now Josh over here with me on 36 in West Oakland, and we talking about life. You know what I mean? Those type of connections, that type of intentionality to me is the biggest impact. And so, like now people absorb content, people want to see you in different spaces because they live on their phones. So now it's like, okay, I have to kind of walk in that space now just to be able to make it relatable for the youngsters. That's just me just being intentional. Like all my work is about being intentional. Like my off season is set up a certain way so I can be at home. Like I built my life around serving, but also being able to thrive. Like I want to thrive as an NFL player, but that's like being in Disneyland. And then when Disneyland is over, I'm back to reality. You know what I mean? And when I'm back to reality, it's like, okay, what am I doing? And that's intentional. So when I'm working out with the high school kids so they can see what this work really do. Like stop talking about it, this is what it really do. You feel what I'm saying? When we got our youth center, we have our programs, when I'm popping out and I'm showing them why it's important to show up on time, why it's important to learn how to work together. Like these things is not something that you're gonna learn in a book, but these things carry through life because it's about relationships. And the one thing that our community has shown me is we gotta rebuild our relationships, not just in the good times, but really in the darkest moments. But that's the examples that we gotta be. And so for me, that's why everything is about intentionality, to be able to show like, why is this gonna be effective for you? Not just now, but later. And that's really why I do it.
So Devin, can you, Jason, said are very much connected and reporting back in. Having said all that, can you talk to us a little bit about, as a veteran, how it is that you understand the work that you've done at a very high level, where you've passed laws and looked at criminal justice and things like that, and what you hope that this current generation of player is going to be able to continue to do, that Josh gives us some insight into?
Yeah, I think to what Josh is saying is so important because it's the connection piece of it. I think when you come to events like this, when you do things, you meet and you see people and they get to ask you questions, you get to ask them questions. When you talk about 2020, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was popular at the time for players to get involved. Everybody kind of thought it was cool, to Josh's point, to say, hey, I'm going to take a knee, I'm going to speak up, I'm going to say something. But for us, when I was playing in Boston at that time for the Patriots, when you're standing and you're sitting in front of you're at the State House and you're petitioning and you're testifying to pass an education bill for $1 billion to help kids in those communities, that you go out and you visit a school and you're walking around and there's not enough space in the classroom, and they literally have Chinese doors outside the classroom with 4 chairs and a student is trying to focus as people are walking by in the classroom. All we did was use our platform of playing in the Super Bowl, whatever the case it may be, to amplify the things that Josh and his cousins and the things they're doing, we're already doing. So I think the reason I continue to stay involved, because I do think now as time has passed, it's a little bit harder for players to see some of those same people that are doing it. Josh has been playing 18, I'm already retired. Kurtz is in year 5. You want to see those guys in year 5, 6, and 7, where they're starting to carry the torch and say, you know what these guys did was so important, but watch what we're going to do and take it to the next level. So I think when you have sometimes guys that were around when it first started to reflect back and talk about those things, it's important to understand why we are where we are from a league standpoint and the things that they've done. So I think it's exciting work, and I think when it means something to you, when you grow up a certain way, when you see the advantages and you see the impact that you're having on the community and what it means. For me, you mentioned the football camp. When I would do my football camps with my brother, and that's why he called me Devin. I have an identical twin brother who's not here right now, but we do look a lot alike. But when we do our football camps, it's not just us standing in front of the room and talking. One of my college teammates, he went on to become a financial advisor, so we allow him to come and talk. One of my best friends I grew up with in high school, he is now a lawyer. We allow him to talk because those 2 brothers look just like me and my brother, and everybody's not going to get an opportunity to take sports and do it at the next level. So you get a chance to hear from somebody that is now in law, that may look like you, may dress like you, may dress differently. Somebody may show up in a suit, and you got to be able to understand there's one person in the suit and this other dude in sweats grew up in the same neighborhood, may speak the same way, and they're representing in different ways, and that's okay. That doesn't make somebody corny because they're representing, they're doing it the way they're doing it. So I think seeing these people all stand together and have the same cause and represent it and have those same conversations around those things are so important to continue to do and amplify.
The feel that I love about it exposes you to everything. If you look at it with the right lens, because everything plugs into that machine, like everything, from every different walk of life, every outlet, every perspective. And what I learned as a black man from Oakland was how you do it. Like I'm sitting up here and I'm seeing how they do community, I'm seeing how they make money, I'm seeing how they run teams, I'm seeing how they bring people from all different walks of life, and then we come to a common goal to be successful. And everything I'm learning, I always relate it back to what's going on in the hood. And I'm like, okay, we do that, we don't do that, we don't do that. Why are we not doing it? And so, to me, that's why I feel like when you start talking about low poverty communities, because we always get the litter of everything. Like everything that's built at the top, we always get the litter of it. And then we are the people that get taken advantage of because we don't really understand what's in our face. Either how to leverage it or how to push it away. And so that's where I feel like the responsibility for us when you come from these type of communities is that I think it is so. Now I can't really speak for people who don't come from these communities, but I do notice when I travel to other places, when I'm around different cultures, how there is structure, how there is a from the elder all the way down to the youth, there's a pathway there. And I just don't see that. I just didn't see that in my community no more. Like we had lost our way in the town. Like you had half the people doing it, and you had the people on something totally different, and you got some people who scarred by whatever happened, and they just alienated themselves. But there was no straight line like system. So that's where I felt like we had that responsibility to show like we can go be successful in spaces that we may be afraid of vibing in. Because everybody growing up, you heard everything was against you. Like the system is against me, this is against me. Everything I kept hearing was against me. But when I started looking at it like, all right, it's against me, but I'm here. How can I take this and then make it our own? Just how can we do this and make it our own? And I feel like what I'm seeing now in Oakland, I'm starting to see more people of my generation now starting to want to get back to our community, wanting to build new systems, wanting to build things of positivity. And for me, I feel like we was a part of being that new example. Like we respected our OGs to the fullest to this day because they showed us what to do and what not to do. You know what I'm saying? And then we kind of lost our way. And now I think we in that space to be that responsibility of showing them what to do, what not to do it, and keeping that new cycle going. And hopefully, because there's so much more information now, like I feel like the youngsters, they smarter now. They're exposed to way much more. So hopefully, by us showing them togetherness, unity, community, how important that is, that when they go do their successful things, that they take on that responsibility, and now it becomes a new cycle. That's how we had cycles selling dope, how we had cycles of wanting to kill somebody if they did something to you. All right, let's start having cycles of going to college, having that sense of responsibility of serving my community, impacting one kid or one family. That may become 2, that may become 4. And if we got now from 5% of our community doing it, but 50 to 60% of our community doing it, what that outlook will look like. We can't put a finger on it, but I guarantee it's gonna be way better than what we've been doing. And so that's kind of why I feel like coming from my community, I have to do that.
Through the Walter Payton stuff, you're awarded grants, and we started working with education last year, and then I was able to meet the CEO of a group called Drive for Change, centered in Oakland, and he's partnered with a school out there called Ile Omide. And so through that connection, I met some of the kids from that school, and really through the after-school golf program. And so I hung out and spent some time with them, and really was just chopping it up with him, asking him like other stuff that he was involved in. And we took a mobile barber van that we had started out to Ile Omide this year, and we spent the day, did a real like a community day with the school, and at that event, that's when they surprised me with the second nomination, and that came with another grant. And in my mind, I immediately knew that we were going to be able to bring that money back into the school. And so, just the small meetings that have happened through my access to the platform that the Niners have given me, that the NFL and Walter Payton stuff has given me, has now allowed me to have that large, lasting impact on that school that I would have loved to have. So that's more of a recent win, but definitely.
Thank you for that. Sorry, we had a little conversation. But one of the things, when I was a teenager, I lived at 21st and LaBrea in Mid-City, around the corner from Schoolyard Cribs. And one of the things that was so important to me was how it is that those folk, and this was, let me be very clear, I'm not trying to glorify anything, this was pre-crack era, I'm old and all that kind of stuff, but one of the things that was important to me was how it is that those brothers looked out for my mother, who was a single parent, and for myself. And they let me be a square. They were like, this dude is not about that life. If he gets in a fight, he's gonna fight straight up. He gets to fall and skin his knee and all that kind of stuff. And when we were talking, you were talking about, you brought up early on the importance of the Black Panther Party. How is the Black Panther Party, really, you can look at Bloods and Crips and all those kinds of things. When you say that kind of stuff, and I think oftentimes when we talk like this, especially in quote unquote proper spaces, folks can get scared or kind of get their backs up against the wall and things like that. I think all of us here, because we are Black, we can relate in some way to what it is we're talking about. What is it that you all might say to the outsider looking in that's like, oh man, I mean, it's the same stuff we talked about early on, but you dress in a certain way and you talk in a certain way, you're kind of scary, my guy.
That's cool. But for me, it was more like, when I'm connecting the history, right, and we dating all the way back to slavery, it's like, okay, slavery happened. And we look at the term what ebonics is. The way my mind worked was, okay, well, back in the days, we created our own language. That's hella tight. If you look at it that way. Amongst everything that was going on, we had to create a new way to communicate, boom. So then you have, when we actually started, the civil rights movement, all these different things happened, and then you started seeing, when we started actually building communities. Like when I was born, my grandparents, our grandparents and stuff, they remember having communities. And it was way more structured, it was ordered, it was sit at the table, we do this, and, it was a certain way that things had to be done. And then I started looking at why do we lose our way? And so that took me down the rabbit hole of, the whole COINTELPRO, the Panthers, all those different things, the war on drugs, like, then being from the town, it's like, this the spot, this is where it's really rolling at. And so we got the Panthers rolling right here, but you also got what Rick Ross and them, all them doing, that's having an impact on our community. And what I'm looking at, I'm seeing it real raw and uncut of the effects of that. And and the biggest thing I always try to do was try to take positive outlooks out of negative situations. Because growing up, I was born in '86, like this is really now when a lot of negative stuff start happening in our communities. And so when you try to pull a positive out of this, all right, so I'm looking at it like the Panthers organized amongst the community, built on love, free programs, everybody showing up, everybody serving. What went wrong? Same thing that normally go wrong with us. We start falling out within. Okay, so then when you connect with them and see like why they fell out within, you start getting to the reasons why of the other things. Then when you look at even the drug dealers and stuff, these are billionaire organizations that they run in the hood. They just doing it illegally. But to me, I'm looking at it like, if y'all smart enough to organize and do all this stuff, imagine if we was educated, bro. Imagine if we took business classes. Imagine if we do all this because it's in us. And so now when you educated behind it, it's like, okay, this is how you avoid those fall gaps. This is how now that we can become generational, because what ended up happening was you had all these billionaire type families living, and then once the government take it, now nobody left for nothing. And so, and one thing I learned through the NFL was, when you ain't never had money, you don't really, it ain't really that bad. But when you have something and then lose it, that's when the real,
can't go backwards.
That's when it really get tricky. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, everybody around me, like, cause I ain't gonna lie, like a lot of my family did that. Like, I ain't gonna get specific about it. So I was exposed to the fact of what was really going on. Like, I'm walking in, I'm seeing them, you know, searching people here and there. Like you, they told me, get up out of here, you don't belong here, you know what I mean? And then also I'm seeing the product of that. But then I'm going to school, I'm thriving in sports, I'm seeing the product of the other things, I'm being educated. And I'm looking at like, if we understand the right things, we just don't understand how to make it fit to where we won't lose it. And so like when it got down to that, that's when it all started making sense to me, like why we need like vertically integrated stuff in our communities, because everything is available to us, the knowledge is available to us, everybody knows, but what we don't consistently do is create something that's sustainable over time. And therefore it gets lost in translation. Like one of the biggest things that I don't like is the fact that I gotta learn about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Huey P, and them not here to tell their story. That's kind of common amongst great black people, in my opinion, that really came from the hood and made it. They wasn't here to tell their story. So my thing was like, if they here to tell their story, rub shoulders with them, like how much a difference that could have made on me? How much a difference that could have made on one of my partners who really lost their way? And so like, I started looking at it from that lens about everything, because everything makes sense of why it happened. But now it's like, all right, what are we gonna do about it?
And I think to the second part with the noise, to Josh's point, for me, as I've gotten older and I've transitioned out of the league, it's almost like you guys all know your grandparents, your parents, as they got older, the filter starts to change. Where I went to my mom's house and I'm on the FaceTime with my little niece, and she's like, damn, you done got fat. And I'm looking at my mom like, you can't just say that. And I think the older you get with the noise, you just stop caring. I think you get to a point where I have a wife and I have 3 kids, and you look at what my son is seeing in his father and the things that are important to me, like those things become way more important than any noise that surrounds you. So you stop caring about what outside opinion is what it's going to be for you. So I think those are the things that kind of motivate me and keep pushing me.
And let me say this, we're going to close so that we have an opportunity to kind of connect with one another, but please do use these as resources. We're talking about developing ecosystems here, and this is, in each of your seats, you should have this information, this little leaflet that gives you a QR code where you can connect, like give feedback here, but also suggest emails and or organizations that exist so that we can put together a database and make sure that we are connecting with one another. We want to make sure that the time that we're spending here is not rhetorical, that it's applied, right? And so that's where we were very intentional using the word, Josh, around who it is that we have who is sharing with you. So I do want to say personally that I really appreciate the time that's spent with Curtis, with you, Jason and Josh, with you. I appreciate you all spending time getting up early, being here, and making sure that you're sharing with us kind of your keys to community success and how it is that you pour in to your community and where you came from in social justice and social impact. So I love y'all, brothers. I appreciate you. If I can be a resource, please do use me. I say that to you all here on stage, but I say that to you all here in the audience who are working with us as well. So I thank you so much. I do want to make sure that I again thank Miss Emily Rogers Farr. I said Emily Rogers Nelson, I think earlier, but I do want to make sure that I thank her personally, because as we were stepping into community and we were looking at how it is that we could have an event that was meaningful, her spirit really spoke to all of us and how it is that we could show up. And she, I know, is an avatar and represents for so many who are in this community, who are doing the work, who are in this mural up here. So I want to make sure that I thank all of you all by respecting and honoring and thanking you, Ms. Rogers Farr. So thank you so much. Ashley, you want to come up and close us out?
Can we take a moment just to thank Dr. Rice, Josh, Jason, Curtis. What a powerful discussion today. That was incredibly powerful. And also want to thank you all again for being here today and for contributing to such a meaningful and thoughtful discussion. We're grateful for your presence, your engagement, and your commitment to the work of advancing equity and opportunity. As we close out the formal program, we invite you to stay connected beyond today. You'll see a QR code on the screen. Please take a picture of that. And on the back of your program as well, there's also a QR code where you can scan it. And it's a simple way to stay engaged with us, to share feedback, and to continue learning more about the work connected to today. We also invite you to join us for light refreshments and networking, which will begin now. This time is intentionally built in.
Look at a true legend, y'all. Respectful, brother. I was there at the game when they acknowledged you for the Walter Payton this year. The Titans, come on, man. Keep grinding, brother. Keep grinding.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we keep pushing. At the end of the day, we keep pushing. Might shake, but not shooken. I got to keep pushing. At the end of the night, we keep grinding. When the sun goes down, we keep shining.
Let me see the belt.
Oh yeah, come on, man.
That's the people's champ. Tell me about it.
One and only, baby.
Come on. Yes, sir. Come on.
Curtis. Turn your shoulders in and get real tight. There you go. Perfect. Yes, there it is.
You know me.
You tell me, even in the shadows or the background, I'ma push through, never back down, even when I get weak.
Future leaders of America, y'all. All of them, man. Come on. Look. Look. You're looking at greatness, y'all. Remember these faces. You're gonna see them. You're gonna see them, I promise you. I promise you. You'll see these men. I promise you. Let me get a card, huh? You know I used to play too.
That's what's up, man.
I'm down to it. I'm down to come out. I'm down to do something. Down to do something. Bring it out.
Where you based out of?
I'm out here. I'm on the base.
Oh yeah, come on, man.
I'm on the base. Come on, man. I'm out here. I'm in the East Bend.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna reach out. You gonna get it going. You know what I'm saying? What's up, brother? What's your name?
What's up?
Hey, Reggie. Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's up. Oh, yeah.
How we are. I was born for show. We the best in sports. We're not the best in sports. Since we're not. I know it's not tech. Hoops, football. That's we do soccer. We do everything.
Sorry.
I'm not talking about NFL. Yeah, I'm 22.
Oh, y'all
That's a dick.
We're not basketball.
We're not better at basketball.
Who y'all being for basketball?
Yeah, we go state.
My daughter and them beat y'all last year.
I was Bill. I graduated Bill.
Sorry, Bill. Y'all girl team was supposed to be awesome.
This year I don't know. When I was there, they was winning state.
They wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, what school's better?
West.
She's from the East. She was supposed to go to Tech though, where her brother was.
Yeah.
But then y'all paid her.
Hey, that's why I went to Odell.
Y'all cheated.
Oh, come on.
We talking about Uplift right now. We can't get scholarship.
Look,
That scholarship
ain't no scholarship. They paying y'all.
That's scholarship.
You better real quick.
Yeah, we chill. I got the first one.
I can get you on my vlog.
Oh, for sure.
Come on, man. You got a wise word for us? What do you got, man, for the people? You dropped a lot of.
I did. I think I wasted all my watch.
No, you never. You got more, man. Just give me something simple. How are you feeling right now? Like, all faith is coming up.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most this month?
Last year I was great at it. So I'm looking forward to spending absolutely healthy and really training.
Come on.
Spend some time with my family. So I'm sit down.
C-Rob, legendary, y'all. Come on, man. Let's go. I appreciate you. Pretty ass Kurt. So, all right, brother. We're gonna jump on the vlog. Again, not again. You, three of y'all, drop bars with us today. Like I said, I'm inspired. I'm ready to get back to work. But what is it that you're looking forward to in the next few months in your life, just in your own journey? What that you're doing?
Yeah, I think for me, I've gotten to a point. You think about it when you're a kid, you place out and write out and you talk about your dreams. So for me, it was always to become a professional athlete. So like accomplishing that and retiring, then you start to recreate yourself and come up with new dreams. Now doing the broadcasting stuff. So like in the coming months, figuring out where I can take that. And I think now, like being a father, having 3 young kids, like some of the community stuff is not only about giving back and impacting the people in the community, but it's also the vision of what your kids see you and brings it with watching it. So I want my kids to be able to say, yo, Dan goes on TV, he does his thing, but then during the week, like, we're out doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And we're making an impact on somebody else. So, come on, that's the plan, that's the goal.
Come on, man. Get right or get lost, guys. Come on.
I appreciate it. Love, bro. Love you too.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm trying to get like you. We're gonna be on the broadcast one day, y'all.
Let's do it.
Come on. You see
the camera behind the camera.
I'm trying to.